It was a quiet Sunday evening, the kind that presses down on you with the weight of the week just past, making it impossible to keep lying to yourself. One single sentence was all it took to tear apart the life I had built with the man I once believed was my forever. I hadn't meant to hurt him. I didn't even realize he could hear me, but those thoughtless words shattered everything between us like fragile glass. My best friend Sarah had come over for a casual visit, and we were sharing a bottle of wine in the comfort of our warmly lit living room. I assumed Nathan, my husband, was upstairs sorting through old boxes in the storage space. At least that's what he'd said. Sarah and I had settled into conversation, though in truth it was mostly me talking, unloading the emotions I'd kept bottled up for too long. The wine dulled my inhibitions and the strain of the past months. The arguments, the heavy silences, the sheer emotional exhaustion, spilled out like a flood breaking past a dam. "I don't know anymore, Sarah," I said quietly, rubbing my temples to ease the ache that had taken root there. "Sometimes I wish I'd never married him." The instant the words left my lips, I felt a deep twist of regret, as though I'd just summoned something I couldn't take back. Sarah looked at me sharply, her voice laced with concern. "You don't mean that." But even I wasn't sure. Part of me did mean it. In that overwhelmed, defeated way one feels when love starts to feel more like duty than desire, and that duty slowly turns into quiet resentment. Yet another part of me still held on to the love, or at least the memory of it. What I didn't know was that Nathan had paused halfway down the stairs. He had heard everything. The next morning something felt off. The kitchen was still, the coffee machine untouched. His car keys weren't hanging on the hook where they always were. His boots, usually lined up neatly near the door, were missing. I assumed he had left early for work, but a whisper of anxiety took hold. Nathan never left without a goodbye. Even after our worst fights, he would always kiss me goodbye. By noon I called his phone. It rang but went unanswered. I sent a message, no reply. Nervous now, I opened my laptop to send an email to his work address, only to see a single message waiting for me. The subject line read, "Farewell." The message began, "I heard what you said last night. I know I wasn't meant to, but I did. You weren't angry, you were honest. That honesty destroyed me. I gave everything I had to this relationship, and all this time you've been carrying regret. Don't try to find me. The divorce papers have already been submitted. I'm not angry. I just refuse to be someone's mistake. Nathan." My breath hitched in my throat. I read the email over and over, each sentence landing like a blow to my chest. There was no fury, no argument, no request for closure, just a quiet, irreversible ending. I rushed to his office, but he had already quit. His desk was empty. By the afternoon, his phone had been disconnected. His social media presence was wiped clean. None of our friends had heard from him. His brother simply said Nathan needed space and didn't want contact. It was as if he'd vanished from existence. A few days later the divorce documents arrived. Clean, complete, and already signed. There was no discussion, no questions. Just lines to fill in. My name, my address, checkboxes. I expected to feel furious or devastated, but all I felt was crushing remorse. Images of our early days together haunted me. The way he used to look at me like I was his whole world, the gentle patience he always showed, especially when I pushed him away, the strength he offered in quiet moments when I fell apart. I remembered how he looked at dinner not long before this happened. Tired, distant, but still present. Still trying. He hadn't walked away, I had. For weeks I couldn't sleep. I kept revisiting that moment on the couch, analyzing every word, wondering if I truly meant it, or if I had just allowed my doubts and insecurities to fester instead of sharing them with him. Months passed. I even hired a private investigator. Nothing. No new address. No financial activity. It was like he disappeared completely. Eventually I began to understand. Hearing me say those words, especially when I thought he wasn't listening, wasn't just heartbreaking. It was a confirmation. A confirmation of everything I had let rot in silence. He left not in anger, but to preserve the last bit of dignity he had left. Now I often find myself wondering where he is, if he's okay. If someone new wakes up beside him each morning and sees him as the best decision they've ever made. Because I see it now, he was mine. But I only recognized that truth when it was far too late. Nathan left to find peace. All he left behind for me was the ghost of a moment and the echo of words I can never take back.